Hello everyone. Tonight I would like to show you the demo version of the Faxanadu recreation project that I've been working on for about the last 3.5 months. It's come together quite nicely and I'd just like to show it off tonight. So as you can see, it's Faxanadu. I know that Ed Finlay was working on a remaster of the game, but this version seeks to be true to the original, and it runs at 1024 by 960, which is a fourfold increase from the NES resolution of 256 by 244. So without further ado, let's check it out. So what you're seeing here is the sprite of the guy walking, and what he's actually doing is he's moving up, but then when he reaches a certain point, the X and Y scales actually decrease to give the illusion of depth. It took forever to get that right. So we got the opening text that you would see normally in the game on the NES. So I've been on a long journey. I came back to my hometown to find it is deserted. The gate is closed, the people are gone, and the walls are crumbling. I wonder what happened. I know you just arrived, but please go and see the king right away. But where's the king? To go this direction? Well, not that way. Now, those of you who are familiar with the original game, you know the deal, you know the drill. But anyway, you just talk to the townsfolk. They say, oh, this is the elf town of Ailios. It is located at the bottom of the world tree. The elves live here. Go into the church and speak with the guru before you head to the castle to see the king. Now, if I don't go and see the guru, something kind of interesting happens, or lack thereof, I suppose. For example, some of these doors require a ring to open. Looks like I need a ring to open this door. And basically, in the original game, you needed to get the Ring of Elf to visit the king and visit the magic guy and the dojo guy. So I'm just trying to recreate those effects. Now, one of the cool things about this, because it runs at 4 times the resolution, you could theoretically, and this is actually my intention, to create not only this classic graphical user interface, but a modern graphical user interface. And what we'll do is we'll just have a completely new set of sprites that turn on or turn off based on what GUI you're using. So it's a seamless transition. And so, for example, you go into the menu, down to the options, and you'll have the option to select the modern or the classic, the audio. I'm thinking you'll be able to turn the volumes up and down, or even off. There's all sorts of things I want to do. Now, I got the crucifix implemented and the cross. Those were negated from the North American release. Now that text where it says Ring of Elf, the font was a pain to get to work. And every time you visit a guru, you'll be given the opportunity to save. And hopefully it will be more convenient than the old password system that the game used to use. They had quite unsuccessfully mixed capital and lowercase letters together, and it just was kind of a pain to get it to work. Glad you could come. Disaster has befallen us. The elf fountain water, our life source, has stopped. The waters are drying up. Many men went out, and nobody came back. You are our last hope. I shall give you 1,500 gold and prepare for your journey with this money. It will be a dangerous journey. Take care of yourself. So basically, same spiel as the original. And one of the great things about making this in Game Maker or even Unity is that you could have it run on iOS or Android and so forth, and that's kind of the ideal. Now, one of the cool things with this version is that if your mana is already full, you won't end up wasting money. he just says, okay, well, come back if you need magic power, and I'll, you know, do so for 200 gold. The deformed remnants of the dwarfs. I like that. So apparently the story of this game is that there's some meteor that crashed into the world tree and screwed all the dwarves up. And the cool thing is you can equip items while you're inside. And I've got it set up for infinite magic at the moment. Just in my step event, the current mana always equals the max. So it looks like I gotta get some more gold. I think something ended up charging me more than it should have. It's something I might have to look at. So I need a key jack to go through that door. Let's get a couple of them. Excuse me. Hello, I sell keys. What would you like? Not enough gold. Now, one of the cool things about this version, if you press down and jump, you actually drop the item. And also, I tried to make it... I've used a red potion, but if you press the attack button, cancel. So you don't accidentally end up using something. And then also you can unequip it at any time. So like, if you didn't want to use your hand dagger, you could turn it off. In the original game, when you equipped something, you were kind of stuck with it. I haven't implemented the fade to black effect that would occur when you would go inside a building. It's just kind of an instant transition. And I think also the game would start you about here. So if you were pressing, say, up and right, you wouldn't just sort of go right through the building. But that's something to fix later. Use our key. And I've got these guys to set up to sort of blink whenever they're hit. And there's a blink timer based on Sean Spaulding's Object Hitbox video tutorial. And when the hitbox is in contact with one of these enemies, it's like a 0.24 second timer. And if that timer runs out, they get hit again. So, let's see here. Yeah, see that? It's like, choo-choo. That's the way it was in the original game. And again, with this project, I'm just trying to emulate it as closely as possible. Now, if this guy had hit me and I'd been right here, he would not knock me off the edge of the screen. Also, if I had been standing here and the guy hit me, he'd knock me kind of toward the edge, but he'd never knock me off all the way. Just improvements over the original. Super expensive, secret shop, kind of. And see how it was temporarily invincible? Let me do that one more time. See that? It's just a little timer that I implemented when you zone in and zone out, and also go between rooms, like in this right-left transition, you're temporarily invincible. So if there's an enemy right there, it doesn't, you know, hurt you in an unfair way. The Tower of Trunk is swarming with dwarves. If you continue through town and then keep straight, you'll encounter the Tower of Trunk. And this guy tells you about the block that you'll need to break. A matok could break through, but I bet it would get so dull it would be useless. We'd put up a new stone if it ever broke. If you managed to break through, you would need another matok if you ever wish to return. And this guy tells you about your shield that you have equipped. Or if you don't have one, he tells you that if you equip one, it will block magic attacks. And then this guru, as soon as you talk to him, your reset point gets set to this church. Now on this save option here, if I hit this, it will actually quit the game, but saving is not implemented yet, other than the, you know, menu to get to it. So anyway, I literally spent hours having an NES beside me running this game, and then just sort of trying to match up the way that this moves with it, the way it does in the NES. I probably shouldn't start that guy right on the door, because if I was pressing up, it would just send me outside. Now this room is interesting. It's set up on a data structure, and in the original game, there were certain rooms that if you visited them, I think 4 times, and you killed all the monsters, there'd be an object that would form. So that's 1. So we go in 2, 3, and 4. Now if I take all these guys out, there should be an item that forms right here. Yep. Now, incidentally, that's not the matok you're supposed to get. The one you're supposed to get comes at the end of the level. That's kind of a secret matok. It's akin to the first dungeon of the original Legend of Zelda, where if you walk inside, and then you walk back out and walk back in, the first locked door is unlocked. It's just kind of a fail-safe that I think Nintendo put in so you wouldn't get stuck. Those guys were fun to program. Sort of jump over you. These guys have kind of a weird floating effect. Took a while to get that right. And this room also, if you visit it 4 times, you get an hourglass. So let's try this at 2, 3, and 4. It's not terribly easy to play this on a freaking keyboard. And there's the hourglass. This guy, when you beat him, he forms a matok, but only if you don't have one in your inventory. Uh-oh. So because I had one, but let's drop one. Kind of the easy way to beat him. And there's our matok. and also the hourglass I set up a little bit differently than it is in the original game. It takes away half of your health and halts the enemy. You can see the timer up there? It's counting down. In the original game it wouldn't do that. But what I did is the bosses still run, but they go quite a bit slower. In the original game they would go the same speed. They wouldn't shoot any stuff at you, but anyway, I figured if it takes half your health away just to run the hourglass, might as well slow down the bosses a little bit. Just seems a little fairer to me. Some red. Alright. Okay. Now, I can cancel this too if I want it. Just a way of, you know, not using items accidentally. Now, this room also, incidentally, is a room that will form a red potion right here on your 4th visit. So I think this is visit 4 because I think I stopped by here before I went into the Tower of Trunk. Nope. Alright, so this should be visit 4 then. Uh-oh. Cool. I wonder if I can make a red potion clip through the wall. Whoops. Cancelled. Yeah, there it goes. That's funny. I don't think there's anything you can do about that. When you drop an item, maybe I can make it so the item forms in front of you if your back is to a wall. And those squid guys aren't supposed to be here yet. I just put them there because I was trying to figure out how to get those enemies to work. They were a little bit tricky, but they weren't that bad. Uh-oh. Oh no, I don't have any potions. But their bread gives you a lot of health. Anyway, so when I zone out up here, that's the end of the demo. And so I guess the question can be asked, why do this? Well, I think there's a lot of nostalgic value to these old games. A lot of people I talk to tend to prefer the older games. I think it's, you know, we were kids in the 80s and 90s when these things came out. And, you know, we want to try them out again. We want to try them out on new mediums. We want to try them out with better graphics. Maybe we want the gameplay to be mostly similar. We want the problems to be improved. And so that's kind of my line of reasoning here. You know, I see Zelda 2 being recreated. I see Crystallis being recreated. What else? Maybe... I mean, if you're familiar with the Angry Video Game Nerd, a lot of the games he reviews, like Castlevania 2, someone made a redaction of that, of that game. And I think it was based on James Rolfe's complaints about it. And... you know, it's not a completely reprogrammed game like what I'm doing, but they took the original game and tried to improve it. And I think that's great. I think that does a great service to the industry to basically have critical, I guess a critical take on some of these old games and say, hey, let's improve this aspect. You know, this day and night transition in Castlevania 2. Why does it have to take so long? Why does it have to interrupt you the way that it does? Or, gosh, what's another one? In this game, you know, why do you get knocked from screen to screen, you know, if you are too close to the edge and an enemy hits you? I've already fixed that, you know. It's just little things like that that maybe, you know, the programmers at the time didn't quite know. It was still the 80s, you know. I think they were using C at the time. I don't think C++ had quite come out yet. But, you know, the programming languages have improved. The IDEs, the integrated development environments like GameMaker have improved. You know, I'm thinking about not only using GameMaker, but Unity, you know, to do a lot of this stuff. So let me show you guys some interesting things. So let's get the text going here. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I've got it set up. So if I press the Y key, it gives me all this wonderful stuff here. And I can also press the E key and get, you know, a bunch of experience and a bunch of gold. So let's hit Y. Boom. Try that. Now, in the original game, you couldn't just equip this. You had to have the battle suit and the battle helmet. But I tried to make it so that you could just, you know, use whatever you wanted. You know, you could use the magical shield with the battle suit, which is kind of cool. This was interesting. I spent hours trying to set up some parabolic function. And I didn't realize that, you know, since GameMaker's running at 60 frames a second, you just assign a positive Y value, a positive HS or VSP to your little tilt bolt. But then you decrement it over time, and it's also got an HSP that is in the direction that you're facing. And so over time, as that decrements down, it eventually goes to 0, and then it goes negative and starts traveling up. And then when it reaches a certain speed, I think it's 3, both your X and Y get like 12, and then it just blasts off. And I literally was comparing that to the NES version, you know, side by side, and it's really accurate. And then this one, it actually sort of rotates. In the original version, it just had a couple of frames that would make it look like it was rotating. This one, fire will actually it'll actually knock back the enemies like it does in the original, assuming they have enough hit points to survive. This one can actually strike twice, but it basically kills those guys in one hit. Also, it does linger like it does in the original. So it hits him, it doesn't quite disappear immediately, it sticks around. And then obviously deluge. And then, you know, you could have that combination and use the full plate. This is actually one of the more... I think you spend quite a bit of the game with this setup. Also the long sword. So, anyway, also I've got some other items here. Wing boots. Now, you see my experience is only 40. And if I go on here, it says rank novice, next to X 1000. Now, my current guru rank is novice. And so if I were to use these wing boots, it would give me 40 seconds. Now, in the original game, the higher the rank, the less the time. And I went ahead and tried to preserve that. And so if I were to give myself a lot of experience, obviously I haven't seen the guru yet, so he hasn't given me a new rank. But if I were to use wing boots now, so it says next X 12,500. So right now I think I'm a warrior if I see the guru. Now, if I were to die right now, I wouldn't get a new guru rank. I would start out at 0 experience, 0 gold if I were to die and respawn. But he's going to give me a title. Boom. And then I could save if I wanted. And then if I hit the T key, it'll take away experience. Or I mean, hit points. So I die. And I restarted the last guru, and I have the restart amount of 3,500. I think that's right. And then 10,000 experience. And rank warrior. And let's see, if I hit Y, do I have enough space to get a... Oh, I'd have to drop a lot of stuff. I wonder if I should make some sort of way of dropping everything in the inventory. I was trying to make this work with, you know, just 2 buttons like the original NES. Okay, so those should all disappear. Now if I hit Y... Okay, good, I got wing boots again. Turn them back on. So now it's only 30 seconds. I max out. Okay, so let's kill myself. Get myself another lister. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, now these are back. Doggone. I think it'll only be like 10 seconds. Anyway, the point is it works and it's NES accurate, which is really cool. Yeah, so when you're a lord, you only get 10 seconds for some reason. I don't know if I'll keep that, but I guess for now I will. So, anyway, it works. I'm really pleased with the way it's come together so far. I'm going to try to contact the original IP owners and see if they will agree with me on this proposal to maybe retool some of these old games and put them on new platforms. I really do think that there's a market for this, so, you know, time will tell. I've got someone who can help me contact these people in Japan, and we'll go from there. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Please leave a comment, and I'll see you later. Bye.